Wednesday and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, where we strive to bring you the libertarian perspective on political events of the day. There's no show quite like Freedom Works, with in-depth interviews, our ultimate top 10 list, and so much more. So join us for Freedom Works, the Paul Malloy Show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Tampa Bay's Tan Talk, entertaining and informative radio for the Sunshine State.
Thou shalt not threaten nor tread down our freedom. We will defend till the end our freedom. Freedom.
This home of the brave, so the flag that I wave is the one that was made by my ancestors slaves, and they can't roll in graves, so I'm breaking the chains and I'm bucking the system, making a change. Devices were made and I never will cave. Yeah, I'm bearing these arms, but I don't hibernate, and I go hyperdrive and I do not evade. When it's stupid invade and I brand is my blade. This is a holy war, this is for glory, and this is the reason my people was fighting for. It was the knocking from, put on your uniform. This is the coldest war, another culture war. This is a sequel. Listening all of my people. All we have left is a shred of our freedom.
All we have left is a shred of our freedom. Thou shalt not threaten nor tread down our freedom. We will defend till the end our freedom. 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 All we have left is a shred of our freedom. Thou shalt not threaten nor tread down our freedom. We will defend till the end our freedom. Freedom! Freedom!
Our troops had to lead, loved ones, family, and join military. Red, white, and the blue is all that I bleed. No yellow with me, no white flag is seen. No serving the ring to these enemies here or overseas. So don't tread on me. Got boots on my feet for these.
Wow, amazing. Did you hear that? JIERRA, that was fantastic. That song, Freedom, just gives me chills every time. And she did that with the Marine rapper. JIERRA, thank you so much for sharing your song with all of us. So I am Miriam Putnam, and we are on Tan Talk, and this is our show, Voices for Change, and we are so excited to bring the show to you because our focus is on human rights, and it's an extremely important platform. And the UN, luckily, protects all those rights for us on the UN.org. You guys can totally look them up, and yes, thank you so much. Yes, UN.org for the human rights. And Steve is going to be joining us today. He's up there in New York. Steve Akera. Hey, good to see you. I'm good.
I love your smile, but your passion to help others because it's so much needed. And I heard JIERRA's song, Freedom, because we're all fighting for freedom in different ways. And what your show does is to kind of bring that in the forefront. And all your guests have been really inspiring and empowering and kind of taking a slant on things because there's some things that are being shared and talked about on your show that maybe not talked about or not understood or need to be educated in a way where people can make decisions, correct?
Yes, definitely. I feel very blessed to be doing this show, and thank you so much, Chapters Rap, for giving us this awesome platform to do this. Just because it's, unfortunately, there's a lot of fighting in the world right now with politics, and then you have different people with different opinions on, culture or politics and all these different things. And I really love focusing on human rights because it brings us together. And, that's similar with your mission of your organization, right, Steve?
No doubt. But before we get into that, this is a Tan Talk Network. If you want to join us, please do it. 727-441-3000, 727-441-3000. Want to thank Bobby and Anna and Carmine behind the scenes, and of course JIERRA with a beautiful song. I know that you're in studio, so you're seeing Bobby, and Bobby does great work, and so does Anna behind the scenes. I can't believe the amazing work that they do. But yes,
I know
our nonprofit program continues to support people one chapter at a time, where unity and diversity meet. So it's about bringing people together. And we met recently, and I'm so happy to see how they've unfolded the last couple of months, because you have that passion, you have that work that you've done all along, but now you have a microphone in front of you, and now you have the option and the possibility of potential to helping and empowering more people.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I'm extremely blessed to be on this show. Thank you so much for being here. And I mean, I've been a mental health advocate for a while, always focused on human rights and how we can come together on the platform of human rights. And yeah, you and I met like a couple months ago. Now maybe it's about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met by chance, and but sometimes you have to read the tea leaves and kind of understand someone's passion by just meeting someone. And I think that's what happened with us. And then we realized that we both had moms that were so near and dear to us that really were challenged by the mental health system. And yesterday, by chance, it was my mom's birthday, July 19th.
Oh,
She would have
wow.
been she would have been 80, and everything that I do is really for looking through things through my mom's eyes, because she wasn't treated fairly in the mental health system, and there were people around her, her close family members, didn't know what to do or kind of avoided what they should do. And there's me and my mom back in the day.
Oh, wow.
She had MS and she had psychiatric problems, and she was over medicated on Haldol. The average dose back then, I think, was 2 to 3 milligrams. Check this out. She was put on 24 to 26 milligrams at one time, and she developed.
Wow, that is unbelievable. I wish that I'd gotten a picture of me and my mom to share with everyone watching right now, because wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's me and my brother, Rich, and she was a bright light, but she was debilitated over time, and the psychotropic medication really did damage to her, and I miss my mom very, very much. So when we talked about it, when we met each other, because of the difficulties, we shared about those challenges, and we both do our work through our mom's eyes, right?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, losing my mom to the broken mental health system was like one of the worst things I ever went through. And so the fact that you and I just totally bonded on the fact that we loved our mom so much, and we were unable to save our moms from the unfortunate abuse that both of them went through, you and I just became instantly united.
Right. And those stories that we shared, last couple of months off the air were inspiring. And I see that the work that you brought on JIERRA and Dan and the different people that come on, but you and JIERRA really have a mission. And because she's in the music world and she's a freedom fighter through and through, the sky's the limit to where we could go. But I mean, she's just an amazing artist, does amazing work, and she's not shy, and she does a great job with you. But it's the foster care system that we really have to look at, because there are a lot of negatives, but there's a lot of positives as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because we have an amazing special guest with us tonight. She's a beautiful Christian minister, and her advocacy for kids is just extremely inspiring. I mean, she is like a completely impressive spiritual warrior, and I feel so blessed to call her my sister. I mean, she is just amazing. Her name's Michelle Walker, and she runs a group home called Miracles Outreach. Well, we don't like to call it a group home. We like to call it a home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there it is right there, Michelle Walker. She's fantastic. And I don't know if you want to get into, we may not have time to share all of your stories, Steve, but I know that you have a very big heart for shining light and love on the foster system. And I just absolutely love that about you. And the fact that you care about so many individuals, and you're a trained psychologist, and you're going to be coming down to Florida more and helping kids at another group home is just fantastic.
Well, because first of all, these are children that are in transition. They never know where they're going to be. I know, because I've been in 9 different foster homes and a couple of different shelters, and I worked professionally when growing up. So I know. I don't know. I never knew where I was going to be leaving or going to. And sometimes I was separated from my younger brother. So that, it's all dictated by the system. However, within the broken system, there are amazing earth angels that are out there helping as foster parents or or brothers and sisters that are supporting those children that go into homes. And I think the work that we're going to collaboratively do in the future is to highlight that, but also empower other people, providing a safe haven and more stability for these children.
Yeah, it's so very important, right? More stability and love, right? All we really need is love, right?
Yeah.
And if we have a powerful advocate helping protect our God-given human rights, I kind of look at them like that, then we just have a better future set up for us.
Right. And before your first guest, Michelle Walker, what is it about Michelle that you admire the most about her work?
Let's see. I think because Michelle took on the call to duty, she heard God's message and she wasn't afraid, and she jumped in feet first and she took it on. And I know how hard and tirelessly she works. So I really look up to her as far as like never leaving a child without a bed. She changes. She tries so very hard to open her doors for every child. And I love that about her. So she just took on the call to duty, and she is inspiring. She's inspiring for all of us. She's a fearless leader. She's a spiritual warrior, and I just love her for that.
Awesome. I love that. And I can't wait to meet Michelle. And if you want to call in, ask any questions, or offer your thoughts and feedback, 727-441-3000, 727-441-3000. So we want to thank you. So why don't you do the honors, Miriam,
Yes,
of bringing
definitely.
on Michelle.
Michelle Walker, please join us. Everyone, just to let you know, Michelle Walker is a trained Christian minister. She's been leading Miracles Outreach for over 20 years now, Michelle. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Last year we celebrated our 20 years. So I'm excited and just looking forward to keep moving.
That's awesome. So Michelle, please tell us all how you got to where you are now.
I heard you say that she was just fearless and went right forward and jumped in. And I was like, dog, that sounds awesome. I wish I was someone to do that. Really,
oh my God, but you are.
I think I ran for about 4 or 5 years, and I think I was working on it, but running from it at the same time. So just had the opportunity to serve in a community that was more of a transient neighborhood where we owned a barbershop and salon in Hillsborough County. During that time, we had the opportunity to see families that were transitioning, kids that were hanging out on the streets that didn't have a place to go or being moved from place to place, and just really wanted to know what we could do to help. Never knew that 20 years ago we would be doing this today. What started out as what we thought was going to be just offering after school services and mentoring and maybe food to people who were hungry turned into opening our first residential home for girls that were in foster care. And at that time, I really did not understand that it was going to be something of the magnitude of where we are now. It was just really wanting to help, be able to thinking, okay, we could help a few kids. Never had any idea that we would grow from those first 6 beds to now 52 beds. So it's been a transition.
Wow. So impressive to go from not really planning on doing that to then running a very large and impressive group home that you have like 5 homes now, right?
Yes, I wish we're down to 4. We closed 1 home last year because we have a location that has allowed us to increase the number of beds that we have, so that we are at a total of 52 beds and overall between all locations.
Wow, so amazing. So Michelle, if you wouldn't mind sharing with anyone who's watching or listening how you and your husband decided to actually start doing it. I love that story that you tell about walking on the beach with him. He was walking on the beach, wasn't it?
Yes, I try to keep that part a secret. He chooses to just share too much. So I don't mind. No, it's okay. I will share with you, but I have been, we were on a vacation, and always our vacations tend to be work/vacations. And during that time, I was sharing my husband as we walked on the beach that I just felt that God had been continuously dealing with me about opening a home for kids. And we had 1 biological child at home getting ready to go to college, which I was counting down for. I knew in 2004 she would be leaving. And I just really didn't understand what the message that I was getting, which was about opening a home. And I'm thinking, this can't be it. This cannot possibly be what you're telling me to do at this point in my life. And as I'm sharing it with my husband, and I said, but I'm not going to do that. And he said, what do you mean you're not going to do it? I was like, no, we can't do that. That's just too much. And he basically just joking said, I'm going to move away from you because you keep saying what you're not going to do. I'm just making sure God knows that's not me saying that what I'm not going to do. That is you.
Oh, right.
So,
right. I'm not saying that back to God, right?
Yeah, that's not him. It was me. And it just, I think at the time I didn't really understand it. But once I finally just said, okay, if this is really what you want me to do, you're just going to have to make this happen. That's exactly what happened. It definitely took a couple of years of me processing and kind of keeping my own secret. And then finally sharing that secret and saying, hey, this is what I'm wrestling over here. Versus where his idea when we started was just doing the after school programs and being able to be an outreach and help the kids. Never any plans to actually provide housing. It was just about helping families and helping people have a better quality of life, really. Never anything about anything else. So over that time, as we grew, we actually opened the first residential home for 6 girls. We served girls ages 12 to 17. And the original plan was just to have the one house. And within 3 years, we had 2 homes, working on house number 3. And at the time, we never really set out to just serve a difficult population, which is what we ended up with. Just because I was told, because we didn't know any better, they gave us all the kids that nobody else wouldn't take.
And you're still doing that. I mean, talk about God's plan. You are still doing that. Yeah, I know.
That was definitely what it was meant to be, because nobody deserves to be turned away or to be judged or to be just really, I hate to say thrown away, but sometimes that's what happened. I guess lost in the system, especially when you're working with kids who've been through a lot of trauma and have had, I heard the young man speak and say he had 9 placements, which is average for us. That's very normal that we see on a regular basis, 9, 10, 12 placements, multiple moves, not being able to be stable in a place. But once we opened, that's what they gave us, and it worked. And our kids began to stay and they transition. It was really about just loving them, and just our motto is always, see a need, meet the need. Whatever that need is, how can we meet it? What can we do to help this kid achieve stability? And I understand that love conquers everything. Love covers a multitude of things. So it's not, oh, she ran away, or oh, she's belligerent, oh, she doesn't want to attend school. We hear all of that, but it doesn't mean that you're hopeless or that you cannot be helped, and that we should not try to at least offer some sort of support or whatever it needs to help that child get on the right track.
Yeah, totally. I mean, see a need, meet a need.
Yeah,
it's fantastic what you're doing. It's so absolutely fantastic. And if you wouldn't mind, talk to us a little bit about how, like what sort of population you're serving and the mission of the organization. And I mean, I know because you're near and dear to my heart that it's part of your ministry, right? I mean, you've been a Christian minister for how many years now?
9 as ordained. 9 ordained. Yeah. So it's been a long walk. I'm just one of those people who tend to just, you walk, you just do the work. And sometimes you don't realize how much you do. You just keep going. It's really all it is. I love it. It's the drive that keeps me going. Our overall mission is really just to help children and families to become self-sufficient in a loving, supportive family environment that's safe and secure, to really have an overall better quality of life. And for me, it's not just for the child that comes in. Usually it may be the child that helps to help make the change, because we see families a lot of times that are broken. But when you have a kid who's coming from a broken home, you don't want to just take them, give them a place to stay, and then send them back into the same mess. It's about really trying to help them get the therapy they need, get whatever services that they need in order to become productive citizens, which in turn, even when they're having those visits with their parents, they're able to share the information that we give them. They're able to go back and teach their parents sometime, or whoever their relatives are, to be able to see, what change is possible, and that we don't have to give up, that our circumstances are not going to dictate our future. and just
Right.
helping them to be able to recognize that it's definitely possible, and that our goal is to really be that bridge between the child and the family, help them to get on the right track, and just help them really get them where they need to be. We
Mm-hmm.
serve 12 to 17-year-olds as our primary population. However, we do provide services to youth that have aged out of foster care, ages 18 to 24. And that actually came about for us about, I think in 2015, 16, we noticed the need that we were having, constantly receiving those phone calls for kids who've aged out of foster care, who are turned 18. You have to leave. You're homeless, looking for a place to stay. We had a lot of kids we would have come back sleeping on the couch. We're paying for hotel rooms, whatever we need to do to make sure that they have a safe place to stay. So that led us in a whole nother direction. And in 2018, we obtained our first quadruplex to allow us to have housing for 8 youth, 4 shared units for kids that are aged out of foster care, to be able to be that continued support and have a really set up as permanent supportive housing. So we have the case management where we're making sure that they're getting the things that they need, enrolled in school, working, whatever it is, so that they'll still have that support system. We want to still make sure they have that circle of support so they don't feel like they're on their own. And so
Yeah, and that's
we
amazing.
yeah.
I mean, you really do that. I mean,
Yeah.
girls end up graduating from Miracles Outreach. They age out. They turn 18. They'll end up staying in the housing that you have for foster youth that have aged out of the system. And then, honestly, Miracles Outreach girls end up coming back, and they share Christmas with you, different
Yes.
holidays with you. Yeah, it's beautiful. And listen, I got to tell you that I really think it's because of this, the spiritual warrior that is the tireless leader leading the place. And obviously, I know you have an awesome counterpart too, but really it's your leadership that is
Thank you.
really unfolding. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
Super duper impressive. Any stories that you want to share with everyone listening?
It's so many. I literally Sunday had a young lady come and see me who actually is 30 years old and married and just had a baby 3 months ago. And she said I was taking too long to get there to see the baby. So she brought the baby to me. So but I just love it because we have I've had several young ladies who actually lived at Miracles but have come back and work at Miracles. I have one young lady who's worked there since she was 18. She left, did another job. She is our victim advocate for our youth that have been involved in human trafficking. And I think that that's really, it's important to me, but it definitely makes a difference in the lives of the young ladies that's there, because they have an opportunity to see someone who not only can say that they can relate to what they went through, but she actually came in, went through the program. They can see that it works. And it also gives them that hope to say that, oh my goodness, if she made it through this means I can make it too. And I can see that it's doable. This is for real. They're not just talking, that this actually happens. So I think those are the things that I love the most, being able to share, even with the kids that come in. I'm super excited to have 2 young ladies that one that aged out last week that's still here and leaving to go to college on August the 16th. And I have another young lady that's aging out next week on the 30th, and she's going to USF. So have 2 of our graduates. Yes, that's continuing.
That's amazing.
And
oh my
God.
Excited. Yeah, that's so exciting. And it's because of the stable home life that you ended up giving the girls. And then, you guys helped them and coach them and do everything that you have in order to get them to the next place in their life, to be able to spread their wings.
Yes, and I love you. I love you, because you're always right there to just jump in and just.
Yeah, I'm your cheerleader.
Yes. Even when I think I'm crazy, so I love it. Thank you.
Oh no, you are just fantastic. And I don't know if you can see it, Michelle, but anyone watching the video, they've seen like a little bit of a slideshow on Miracles Outreach, and you've shared so much vital information with our listeners regarding how important it is to offer a safe and secure home life for girls that have gone through lots of instability. And part of what I've been hoping to help you with, and we have had a couple events, and we're going to work together some more and do some more, is we have a big rehabilitation project going on the property, because we want to get the place looking as as good as possible. And
Yes.
we have some big plans. And if you wouldn't mind, could we show the wellness video?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
yeah,
Yes.
we have we need all of you listeners out there to log on to miraclesoutreach.org, and please find it in your heart to give a little, just to help with all the powerful work that Michelle Walker is doing with Miracles Outreach. And it just can be a couple $100 a month even will help give a girl, more food, and then help with their college applications, help buy clothes, help with toiletries, help with new bed sheets, all those different things that you are so tirelessly doing, Michelle, with your church and leading the organization. And all that we ask for from the community is just to support you and all the help that you're giving to girls that have unfortunately gone through sex trafficking at times and awful abuse situations and have bounced from house to house. And so we ask all you listeners and anyone who's watching on live stream, YouTube or Facebook, if you wouldn't mind going on to miraclesoutreach.org and finding the donate button and just helping us with all the powerful work that Michelle is doing. Is the wellness video ready to show, Anna? I don't know. Powerful programs, and I know you've already launched this, Michelle, but we have big plans, and we really welcome all of you guys that are out there listening or you're watching to please log on to miraclesoutreach.org and help out in whatever way you can. We really do appreciate everything you can possibly do in your generosity, because the kids that are, in need of a home and lots of love, but you offer them a bed, and it's so important. Michelle, thank you so much for everything that you've done, you're doing, and that you're planning on doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your support and just giving an opportunity for us to be able to share about miracles. It definitely takes a village. So I am so grateful, and I thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michelle.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. You are such a tireless leader and such a human rights advocate, offering children a safe place to live. So thank you so much for all of you guys out there listening or watching and joining us. We are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. And then obviously we're here on Tan Talk. And so the radio show is here in Tampa Bay. And then also we're up there in New York. I don't know if Steve is still on the line or not, but I would like to introduce you to our next guest. His name is Bobby Newman, and he has been a intervention specialist in helping people with their drug addiction problems. He has lots of acronyms after his name, and I really totally want to tell you that. He is an internationally certified drug and alcohol counselor, certified intervention professional, and certified prevention specialist. Bobby, please join us. Bobby Newman, everyone.
Hi.
Bobby, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be
here. Yes, Definitely. And I don't know if Dan Kane is going to be joining us as well, but we look forward to seeing him soon. Bobby Newman.
All
Bobby,
right.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in a small town, and when I say small town, most people I talk to, when I say that, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I did too." And I say, "How many?" And they'll say, "Oh, 5,000." I'm like, "Well, the town I grew up in had 650 people in it, and about 13 churches. It was in southern Oklahoma, south central Oklahoma, and my claim to fame is the movie Footloose is based off events that happened in my hometown in 1980, and one of the things about it is." There was a lot of drinking that went on. I started drinking when I was very, very young age, and there was a small percentage of the kids that were drinking, but still I got into drinking, and then I got into doing other drugs as I left towards the end of my senior year in high school, and then I got into smoking marijuana. Then went to college, and then got into stimulants there, and it just progressed. And by the time I'm 35 years old, I'm looking at 7 years in a penitentiary and a lot of fines and things like that. Fortunately, I was able to go into the Narconon program, and get my life turned around. And I have since educated over 650,000 kids about the.
Wow, Bobby, 1 second. I just want to repeat that really fast, just so anyone who's watching or listening hears that. Bobby Newman turned his life around, and he has educated literally almost 1 million kids at this point in time. Did you say 650,000?
Yeah, I quit counting after a while, but we did a lot. My wife and I did a lot of work with homeless folks and things like that. So we didn't really. That's not included in that number, but it's a bunch. So
yeah, it's very impressive.
Thank you.
Super duper impressive. Wow, look who we have here. Dan Kane is joining us, and thank you so much, Dan, for joining us.
Hi,
so
Mary.
Bobby. Hi. So, Bobby, you were sharing a story with me earlier regarding the intervention that you did for a young boy, I believe. I believe that's what you were telling me about. Because what ends up happening, if you wouldn't mind, like walking through kind of like a typical call that you receive from a family in distress with their loved one who unfortunately is, extremely addicted to, an illegal substance, and then how does that go? And like, what do you do?
Well, a family will call me. They have a loved one. Usually the addiction has been going on for several years. And there's been a lot of chaos and problems and trail of tears, I should say. I don't know if that's the right thing to say about that or not. But
no, but I think it's perfect because families go through such hardships when they're trying to help somebody that they love dearly. I mean, I know that my family did with my mom, and I wish that we had known you when my family was going through what we were going through.
Well, the thing of it is by the time they get to me, it's usually, again, been years and been going on for years. And there's so many things that have happened. You've got this great big snowball of mess or chaotic mess. So you have to start unraveling it. And the key element is actually getting the family to work together as a unit. And one of the first things we do is find a treatment program that's going to best suit their needs. And, these programs, I like the ones that are holistic. I actually went through the Narconon program 21 years ago, and one of the things about it, when I needed help, I went to medical professionals and mental health professionals trying to figure out what was going on with myself, and I was being told that you have this and you have that. They even tried to put me on Prozac at one point. I thought, well, I've got a severe addiction to methamphetamine. I'm not sure a drug. I mean, if a drug is going to solve my problem, I think I've already got that figured out. I don't need another drug. I figure out how to stop taking this one. So anyway, my sister was able to find the Narconon program, and I was able to get, and it made sense because it was, based off of nutritional support, getting the body clean, basically getting the fundamental rudiments of the body and, the person in, and then trying to figure out, what caused the addiction to start, and then how to keep from doing it again. And, that made sense to me, although I didn't have any hope that it was going to work because I was on my, I was always addicted, my mindset was not correct. But anyway, that's how it ended up for me. And I want people to have that same experience, and that's where I gear them. And once you can educate them about the effects of the drugs and what they're experiencing, then they become in tune with that type of approach. Makes sense. A more holistic, drug-free approach makes sense. Let's give this person a fighting chance before we start throwing more chemicals at them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me as far as, I mean, I don't know any other drug therapy, drug rehab place that's out there other than Narconon that offers that for the public, right? But I mean, Dan Kane is on with us right now, and hopefully he will share his expertise with us regarding dual diagnosis centers, because unfortunately, when I was younger, I had an experience with my mom going to one out in California, and it was a pretty unfortunate one. Just because we had the whole drug issue that you were just talking about. It's like somebody's addicted or using some sort of drug, and then in order to get the person to stop using that drug, then the person is put on a psychotropic medication that has pretty terrible side effects usually. Dan, do you have anything to add to what we're talking about here? I know you have tons of experience with behavioral centers, and you are a beacon of light for the public out there listening.
I don't know about that, but I do know I had the pleasure of working at the end of my substance abuse career with the program that Bobby was at the Narconon program. And the point is valid. Using psychotropic drugs and the bad science behind them to take people off of other drugs is just a flawed model to begin with. But again, I spent 30 years in the business. I've run detox centers. I've run programs from Florida to Oklahoma and Houston, Texas. And what they all do is they teach powerlessness. They teach that people have a disease that renders them incapable of making good decisions. And they don't do that at all at the Narconon program. What they do is they do the nutritional support. They do a detox that's really unique. So after some time there, people are clearer than they've been in many, many years. And they hardly even talk about the drugs. They don't do drug education. They just get people reconnected to their families, to present time, so that they're involved in the milieu in the program, and then they get back connected to their families. It's a real healthy model.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And Dan, you consider yourself an Adlerian psychologist still, or is it just Dan Kane? Dan Kane, licensed mental health counselor.
My foundation was through Adlerian psychology, which is very systems oriented. It's about relationships. It's about those kinds of things, which really are paramount in getting people healthy. The other thing is most programs now are dually diagnosed programs, and being able to tell what is the symptom of or a side effect or a symptom, or whether it's drug related or whether it has to do with their mood disorders or that kind of thing. Those programs are lost because you can't separate those things out. You have a whole person, a holistic person, or a holistic view of a person. It's everything. It's their relationships. It's their work. It's their family. It's all those things. You can't reduce them down to a set of symptoms and figure out what the problem is with them.
Thank you so much for that, Dan. Thank you very much. And so, Bobby, it's extremely important what you're doing for families in the United States and for individuals that are addicted to harmful substances, is that you're helping them avoid another diagnosis, basically.
Right. And I was just thinking about that. The young man we were talking about earlier, the family had called me, and he was exhibiting. He apparently, from what they knew, he was only smoking marijuana. Well, not only smoking marijuana. He was the only thing they knew that he was doing was smoking weed and high potency THC. And he had all kinds of symptoms, as Dan was talking about, that were abnormal, and they wanted to send him to a dual diagnosis program. And I didn't really contest that. I just gave him a bit of an education on how the drugs affect the chemistry of the body and the approach and the hormones, and they cause these symptoms that you're experiencing. And so, and I even talk about the substance-induced psychosis that occurs when a person abuses drugs. And it takes several weeks, if not months, for that to subside. So usually once I was talking to the mother about that, and I just casually was talking about it, and I said, here's the things to think with when you're going to get the right treatment program for your son. We've got one shot at this. Let's make the best of it. And come to find out, her husband was on the phone, and he was a psychologist. And he basically told his wife, said, "You know what? Just do whatever this guy tells you to do. He knows what he's talking about. Just listen to him, and we'll just follow his lead." And she told me the next day, she called and said, "You really impressed my husband, and and gave me his name and everything, and he's a psychologist." And I thought, well, and he was totally on board with the holistic approach. So I was very validated by that. But anyway,
yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that story. It's really awesome. You are also a tireless and fearless leader, both of you guys, for holistic mental health. I don't know if that's okay to say. I know that's not part of either of your platforms, but I really care about human rights in the field of mental health, and we have a lot of reform to do in order to help society, because right now, unfortunately, there's over 8 million kids on psychotropic medication. And we have, I don't know if you know the exact statistics, Bobby or Dan, on what's going on with drug addiction in the United States. But the last time I checked, it was pretty bleak.
It's definitely skyrocketing, especially since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a personal story with my son, who's now 30, who, when he was 8 years old, he had some behavioral issues going on, and his mother took him and put him on some medications, and he was on that for a couple of years. It took me a while to get her convinced to get him off of it, but I was able to get him with a PhD out of New York that specialized in kids who had these type of things, ADHD, what they say is oppositional defiant disorder, which is, again, another label, but he specialized in helping these kids, but he also, did blood work and found out there's nutritional deficiencies going on, and really dug in there and figured out from a physical standpoint what could be causing these type of things. And we were able to get him off the meds and get him back on track, and he did fine. So,
wow, that's great. And it was just through some blood work and then some positive encouragement. And what else did you mention there?
Well, we basically, it was, out of the environment, we changed a lot of things, how we were handling him, but we also changed his diet, got him on a specific supplemental program, that was obviously recommended by the doctor, but it was a natural approach to handling the things that we were experiencing. So he could, and to this day, he'll tell you that he resented having to take those meds.
Oh, wow. Really? How old was he?
He was 7 to 9 years old. And, and the thing of it is kids, they don't have a choice. They have an adult that gets the mandate to them, tell them what they have to do. Yeah. And it's really unfair, because as a person, they don't get to decide. They just know they're struggling and having problems. And so it's pretty unfair if you get to thinking about it. So, yeah,
definitely. I totally agree with you. And I saw you, Dan, shaking your head in agreement too. I mean, we have a lot of work to do as far as society goes with mental health reform, right? Mental health awareness is obviously important, because people's minds and their body are extremely important. And we don't want anybody suffering unnecessarily by any means, right? But putting a child on a medication is should be, at least from my viewpoint, it should be definitely looked at before doing it.
There isn't any, it also does a couple things. Number one, it teaches the child that there's something wrong with them, that their brain doesn't work right, or something doesn't work right. There's no science that supports that, but that's the message the kid gets. And so if he doesn't feel well, or if he's upset or something, the message is there must be a chemical to take. And so we're really streamlining young people now with ADHD medications, which are stimulants, and all kinds of different medications, and anti-anxiety medications for kids. We're really streamlining them into the adult substance abuse system. Many of them end up there. And the same thing with the substance abuse system. The message that people get is that they have a disease, that they're defective, that there's something wrong with them. And at the Narconon program, you see people after they've been there a month or so, and it doesn't appear to be any disease orientation going on there. They seem healthy, they seem normal, they're happy, they're connected with their family again. It's what they need is to get away from society and all the pressures for a little while and get grounded again. But none of these diseases that they diagnose people with and medicate and treat have any basis in reality. They're clusters of symptoms at the very best.
Well, thank you so much, Dan Kane. That was a great explanation on what's going on with society. Thank you. Anything you wanted to add to that, Bobby?
Well, I think that, I mean, obviously, you know, Dan, I do want to say one thing that I don't, when people come to me I don't portray myself as a medical professional, even mental health professional. I'm a substance abuse counselor that I then will say, look, I'll get you in front of someone that can help you, but let's take a look at this first. Then you can hear it straight from them. So I did want to clear that portion up. I'm not here to determine exactly what's going on with the person. And as an interventionist, I wouldn't be the one treating the person at the center anyway, but let's at least get you in front of those professionals that will then be able to ascertain what's going on with that person and giving them, you know, as we've talked about, is giving them a fighting chance by removing them from the, you know, the effects of the drugs that they've been taking. And
right, definitely. Definitely, Bobby. And I know, I mean, you bring a lot to a family that has an individual suffering through drug addiction because you found a pathway out of it. And now you're helping families with your company that you formed. Tell me.
Oh,
Newman Interventions.
Newman Interventions, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Anna, I don't mind if you don't mind if you can just put it up there so anybody watching or listening can get in touch with Bobby, who may have a family member who is suffering through a drug addiction and needs a caring, listening ear who really understands what it's like to go through drug addiction and then make it out of that to tell the tale and have a successful business and a beautiful family. And yeah, definitely. So Bobby, if you don't mind, can you tell anyone listening or watching how to get in touch with you on that website? Is it pretty easy?
NewmanInterventions.com. There's a phone number at the top. Just call it. There's also some forms on there. Or and there's a phone number at the top. Or you can also go call me. I can give you a different number to call, 866-989-4499. You can call that number. Somebody will answer the phone. If it's, you know, I have people that answer my phone for me. If you know, I'm not available, they'll get the message to me. So they could definitely reach me that way.
Okay, perfect. If you wouldn't mind saying that number one more time, because we don't have it up on the screen, and just in case anybody's watching or listening and they can grab a pen and they want to write it down, can you say that number one more time?
866 989 4499.
4499. Thank you so much, Bobby.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. Well, please leave us with some advice. And Dan, I'm going to ask you for a little bit of advice too before we hang up. Bobby, if there's somebody watching or listening that happens to know somebody that's suffering through drug addiction and needs some advice, what would you say?
I would say the wrong thing to do is nothing. So the wrong thing, and something, it's never too soon to do an intervention. It's always too late.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, even if it's depending on what type of intervention, or, you know, an intervention is the means of stopping some sort of destructive behavior, and to what level you need to do the intervention. I'll help you determine that. But usually by the time they get to me, it's been going on for years, and we've got to do a full court press to get things handled. So anyway, it's never too soon. It's always too late.
Wow. And yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it's like for me with my son, for instance, when he was, you know, he got my oldest boy, when he was about 15, 14, turned into a teenager, he didn't really have a substance abuse issue. He just had a decision-making issue.
Right. Yeah.
Teenager, you know, he's out there trying to figure out life and hormones going on and everything else. But so we intervened on him to a degree. I mean, I was able to do it over the phone, and get him, you know, situated where he was getting on the right path versus waiting for, you know, several more years to go by. And because I knew he was on the path, and I knew how that was going to end up. So I thought, why wait right. for all these other things to start happening? Let's just end it off now. And, you know, the kid was able to, he's a very smart kid, very outgoing. He was able to figure it out, and he got back in high school, was able to finish out his high school year, enjoy high school, you know, played football, went to college. So he didn't have years and years of turmoil and problems. We were able to get it nipped in the bud, and, you know, he's doing great. He lives in Miami, just got married. So
awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that awesome success story. Yeah. So all of you listeners or anybody watching, take it there from Bobby Newman. It's never too soon. It can only be too late. So if you have a loved one that is suffering with any sort of drug addiction, and you don't really know necessarily what to do, you can always call Bobby, but definitely do something, because that person is in probably in need of a lot of love, and somehow they just need somebody to stand up for their human rights and show them how much they're loved. I don't know if you'd explain it like that, Bobby, but I think the world needs a lot more love.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And Dan, I don't know if you're still on the line here, but if you can share a way that anybody can get in touch with you, that would be fantastic.
Sure. And then just to your point that about love, the reality is it is human connections that are probably the most powerful thing, that are the curative thing to help people out. And most drug programs don't do a very good job of that. They isolate people and they separate them from their family and everything. But the reality is connections are probably the most important thing to get people back on the road to recovery. So I'm simply Dan Kane Counseling in Tampa, Florida. It's available. You can find it online pretty easily, and I'd be happy to advise people if they have questions about where to go or what to do. There are answers out there. There are programs that can help. But it's hard to find the right ones through all the things that are offered out there. It's hard to find ones that'll really be helpful. The success rate of most programs are very, very low, is the reality.
Okay. And do you know of what the success rates are for the drug program that you and Bobby were just talking about, Narconon?
I don't have this. I know from anecdotally being out there for a while, the best programs, traditional programs, generally end up 8 to 12% long-term recovery. I would say Narconon's way above that. I'd say above 50%. The numbers are just not even close. I don't know it statistically. I don't have the research from it. We're in the middle of doing a research project when I was out there, so I don't know if they got any data back from that. But it's just from experientially way higher than traditional. Again, I spent 30 years in the business. Their numbers are way higher.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And Dan, if anyone watching or listening wants to get in touch with you and has any questions regarding their diagnosis and what to do about that, how would somebody reach out to you real fast before we end the show here?
813-420-7194.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dan. And thank you so much for joining us today. This is Voices for Change. And here I am joining you live. We're streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and we're in the Tan Talk studio and out of New York. Thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you next week on Wednesday. And here we have JIERRA again.
Driving, I do not evade when it's stupid and vain, and I brandish my blade. This is a holy war, this is for glory, and this is the reason my people was fighting for it. Which they're knocking from, put on your uniform. This is the coldest war, another culture war. This is the sequel. Listening, all of my people. All we have left is a shred of our freedom.
All we have left is a shred of our freedom. Thou shalt not threaten, no shred of our freedom. We will defend till